Good morning and welcome to second semester. New semester, new year. Definitely feeling relaxed and rejuvenated from winter break. And I just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge that I think we all feel like a first year teacher. As a first year teacher, you go through stages and you're really excited at the beginning, and then quickly you get into that survival mode, and then you might get frustrated and so on. And so, we're all a first year teacher in a pandemic. And, I've been teaching for 25 years and I'm going through this. I've gone through this, but now that we're moving into January, February, March area, we're definitely turning around the corner. I'm very positive about how things are progressing. And so I just wanted to share that with you. That I know some parents have, definitely in that survival disillusionment. Students are kind of feeling that, but I'm getting the impression now we're definitely moving up and definitely doing better. One of the things that I experienced over winter break was I listened to a podcast from Hidden Brain, and I'll put a link to that in this, talking about habits. And so, what we're talking about with students in class is talking a lot about what sort of habits do we have at school that allow us to be good students, and how might some of those habits transfer to a e-learning situation, a virtual situation, to help them be better learners at home. And so I'm going to pull out 4 of the things that students mentioned that might be helpful for them as far as transferring some of those positive habits. The first is, having an area to work, a desk or just a kitchen table, or just an area that is their school at home. And then having a schedule that they follow, kind of like they do here at school, but they'll get up and they'll go to that space, and then they're at school. And they've mentioned that would be something that they can set up. That's where that motivation needs to come from, has to come from them in order to do that at home. And then the last one would be to have them remove any distractions, like a cell phone or those kinds of things. Now, sometimes music can actually be help them study and help them stay focused. So, music might not necessarily be a bad thing. What my research has shown is that music that works best is music they're not familiar with. So they're not like humming it in their head or singing it in their head. And music that does not have lyrics, because that can sometimes too put you into a space where you're kind of, you're thinking about the music and you're not necessarily thinking about what your task. And so what I use in class is I have Spotify on kind of one of those meditative, relaxed kind of streams. And so those are what I would recommend. And so area to work, a good schedule, remove distractions, and then, be motivated, have understanding that motivation to do the work has to come from themselves. And because you don't have a teacher over you, telling you what to do. You might, don't have a parent. Your parent should not be always sitting over you, telling you to get things done. That motivation really needs to come from yourself. As far as the content that we're going over right now, content-wise, in science, we're doing the water cycle. The vocab quiz for that is at the end of this week, so it's yesterday or today, depending on when they're in person. And the quiz for that is still several weeks away. And so I'll put a link to my plan book in this as well. So if you want to see a more detailed explanation of what's happening, just click on that plan book link. as far as honor science, we're continuing talking about carbon-based molecules. We started that before Christmas break with enzymes, and we're continuing on with that now. The test for that will be next week, so it's a pretty small time frame for that unit because it's kind of a giant overview. So we're just doing introduction. We'll start mining into each of those as we progress. And so we're going to have another unit on, cellular respiration and photosynthesis, where we talk a lot more about, carbohydrates and fuel, building carbohydrates and then breaking down carbohydrates. And then we go on to DNA, RNA, protein synthesis, and so on. So we're going to continue on with talking about those carbon-based molecules, but this particular unit is kind of the bridge between chemistry, where we were at, and going into biology. And so moving between those two, we have to talk about carbon-based molecules in order to do that. Okay. And so if you're new to my class, if you're a new parent, just some quick tips. I'm going to put some links to like a welcome to my class on here. And this is a video that I made in August. And so some of you parents might have already seen that. But in there, I will outline like my content and some tech tips and suggestions for success. If you're an existing parent and haven't watched that yet, or if you're like me and it's helpful to be reminded of that information, you can click on that. I've also put a couple videos in there that I created about navigation within Canvas, as that can sometimes be confusing, and what I call the Canvas feedback loop. So I'm very aggressive about providing students feedback within Canvas, and understanding that students sometimes need to do things more than once. And so know that any assignment in Canvas, the students can do as many times as they want. And I will continue to provide feedback to them until they literally get the grade that they're satisfied with, the grade that they want. And so homework, can be done as many times as they want. Labs can be done as many times as they want, until I have to report. And so certainly there's an end game on that. When I have to report midterm grades, I have to turn those off. So when I report out, those have to be turned off. So I will accept work, late work, redos, all of that, up until I have to report. And so that would be midterms, and that would be end of a grading period would be where those would come into play. And then the last thing I'm going to put on there is the Center Grove resource links. Now, those are made by Center Grove itself, so those might not necessarily be specific to my class, but I think it's an important link that I'm going to put in there as well. And then, there are just tons of videos on my YouTube channel that are helpful. Some of those are things we've done in the past, so they might not necessarily be relevant. But if you subscribe, you'll see things as they come forward. So again, very excited about the new year, and definitely looking forward to vaccines and all that great stuff as we move into 2021. Thank you so much.